the beatings.
Oh,
Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the hottest show in social media history. And I want to welcome you to your nightly edition of the War Zone. I got my co-host Donovan Sadiq, Demetra K. Man, we about to go in. Get a seatbelt as usual. Say, man, we the originators of this thing. You can watch what you want to watch all day long, but at 7 o'clock, you know what it is. You know what it is, man. So let's get to it. Hey, I want to say top of the evening to you guys, and first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apologize. Our guest canceled on us tonight. We couldn't deal with the technical difficulties any longer, so we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving. What's going on, Demetra and Donald?
everything.
Yes, just another great day. I earlier today I was looking at some other shows that emulate this show, which is a good thing. And you got some resurrectors out there putting the word out. But on one of the shows, it was based in Houston. They were talking about the 5-star general out there calling politicians out when they ain't doing the work of the people. So big ups to the 5-star general.
What show was that?
Demetra
Smith? Yeah, Demetra Smith.
Oh yeah, we gotta call them out, man. They full of it. And we'll talk about a little bit of what they doing later on. But Demetra, I mean, you had a nice subject on your mind. And you guys, what I need you to do is push the share button on this video, man. Share this video, share this video, share this video. And let's get it out there because we finna give you some valuable information and we finna mess with your mind. Talk to us, Demetra.
Well, so hello there, everybody. As Gary said just a second ago, we were supposed to have Mr. Vernon Perry come on, former football player of the Houston Oilers, but for whatever reason, he was having technical difficulties, so he wasn't able to join us. So maybe he'll join us at another date when he's able to figure out this technology. So anyway, we had to come up with something on the fly, pretty much, right? So my daughter was showing me or telling me about a situation. I think it happened in New York a couple of days ago where a man was jumping a lady. A black man was jumping a black lady, if that matters, I don't know. But instead of people helping her, people stood around, and mostly men stood around and watched and filmed and, ooh and ah, and, all the other stuff that goes on. And so, I guess I really just want to have a conversation with my co-host here and then with you all. For one, what is that about? What is it? And I'm specifically speaking about the dynamics between Black women and Black men. What is that about? Seeing a woman get jumped or beat up, whatever the case is, and then we, I feel like we need to film. What is that about? And then how do we go about fixing it? And how's the relationship between Black men and women become that bad to where we don't, and I would say we, but I'll say men, Black men don't see the need, or anybody really don't see the need to intervene and say, hey, wait a minute. It has that type of thing. It almost reminds me of like the gladiator days. Not that any of us were there, right? But, in the days of the gladiators, you have these two spectacles who were sort of fighting to the death or whatever the case is. And then people would come and watch, the spectators would come watch, this brutality take place. And they didn't seem like they were disgusted by it. They were actually glad to be watching. It was like a joyous occasion, right? And so I just want to know, what is it about? What do you guys think?
Donovan, you can go first.
Well, there's a term for that. They call them the Terminatrix. And this has been talked about years ago by a guy named Tommy Sotomayor on the behavior of Black women. I hate to keep bringing him up because I know he's not a very popular person in the Black community, but he highlights a lot of our women's behavior. And it is biased. Don't get me wrong. You should do both sides, but he doesn't. That's his platform. And I mean, I'm not saying it's a normal thing, because like back in our day, there's nothing more unsexy than seeing two women fighting.
But
We
this
understand.
was a man beating up a woman.
Well, yeah, you got that. And then when a man and a woman, and just to sit there and watch the woman get beat, the chivalry, I don't know what happened to that. But back in my day, I think we were the last generation to experience that. I'm not going to let no man, I don't care what the reason is, you're not going to do it in public and beat the woman down and me not do something about it, because isn't that an accessory to a public disturbance?
It just depends on the laws, and said state. A lot of laws, it's not against the law to not help. You know what I mean? But I think they should change the laws, that especially if you're filming and you're kind of egging it on a little bit. I think you should be some sort of an accessory. It's one thing if you don't want to help, but it's another to egg it on and try to get what some people would say is a world star moment. But like, how did we get here? Is it the high of 15 minutes of fame? I may go viral. Like, what is that about to where, and not, okay, let's even take the camera person out of the equation. What about everybody else that's standing around? Like what's, because I'll tell you guys a story. At one time we had a family reunion, and my father was probably in his late 60s at the time. Well, our particular picnic was going on, and across the park we could see a lady at another family reunion getting beat up by a dude, right? And everybody was just kind of standing around. My dad took off like Batman and Robin and Superman all put together. Runs across the park, didn't even question to think, are there any guns involved or any of that? And he got the dude off of her, and then he admonished everybody standing around. Said, "What's wrong with y'all? This man is beating up a lady, and y'all watching him do that." So why did I have to run way across the park to intervene? And so I'm just wondering, like, how did we get here? Even if the lady or whatever did something wrong, like, why is it okay to watch her get beat up?
Well, I'm gonna tell you first thing, you want a real or you want a sugarcoat? Whole bunch of these dudes need to put their pads on, because they not men. You ain't gonna stop the fight because you a punk. You probably ain't never had a fight. A real man gonna step up, and that's the end of that. And it's gonna be squashed right there. I'm really not cool with the fights and the videoing of the fights, and everybody thinking that's cool, man. It really makes us look bad. But a lot of these dudes, quote unquote, they got some punk in them, man. They got some punk in them. They'll beat a woman down, but they won't beat no man down. They'll beat a woman down, but they won't beat no man down. They got a lot of punk in them. That's the root of the problem right there. That's why the fights don't get stopped. And that's why they film them. They blame it on the fact that they filming. No, homeboy. You a punk, and that's the bottom line.
I mean, because like even me as a woman, if I saw something, and I've actually intervened before, when I've seen a man, matter of fact, it was like 2 Christmases ago, I was coming out of the store. Actually, I was sitting in my car getting ready to go in the store. And this man and a woman, and they just happened to be a black couple. They were arguing like cats and dogs, and he was calling her all kind of stuff. And he didn't see me in my car because my windows are tinted. And he shoves her against the car. And so I got out of the car, didn't want to startle anybody. I said, you know what? I'm not sure what's going on. I said, but brother, you can't put your hands on her. And he was like, but she was talking to me, this kind of way, and talking to me crazy in the store. I said, you know what? I'm not saying she wasn't doing all of that. I said, but you didn't see me sitting in my car. I said, there's no telling who saw you do that to her. So basically, I had a nice little conversation with both of them. I said, we need, as black people, need to make it. Whatever it is y'all got going on, y'all need to solve it and, get on with your life. And after we got them talking, they both agreed and they got in the car and it was a lot calm. But I could have sat in the car, and if I didn't get out, ain't no telling what he would have did to her. So
women nowadays seem to have more guts than men when it comes to situations like that. You ladies will jump out and go to war, but these dudes will sit there and act like some punks. And as far as the filming aspect, I don't know if they get off on it, you know, to want to watch it over and over to see who really got whooped or whatever. But I'm really not impressed with the fights that I see on social media. I really think that social media has a problem with us out there trying to uplift the black race or the Latinos uplifting their race or whoever. And they will ban us and censor us, but they don't do anything about these violent videos. And I think somewhere down the line they make money off this, so that's why they keep it up, and they allow these videos to be there, and it portrays especially African Americans in a negative light. It portrays us in a negative light because I mean I don't understand it. I look at some of that, and then some days I just scroll by because I don't want to see it no more. It just got to a point where it's horrible, and it just shines a negative light on us. Now that's the part of being an African American I don't like. Don't have people thinking I'm no punk, because I ain't.
Yeah. What I think on YouTube that was really famous was the Denny's fights, you know, the after club fights and stuff like that. But you know, what kills me is, you know, you'll see this man beat this woman down, and everybody's ooh and ah and all that other stuff. Because back in our day, if that was a situation that went down, okay, yeah, we're gonna break the fight up, but we're also gonna beat the crap out of the dude because he shouldn't be putting his hands on a woman like that. And you don't see that anymore nowadays. It's just a crying shame. And then and don't get me wrong, you know, ladies, especially the young ladies, when they fight each other, the weeds is flying all over the place and stuff. And then you find out they're fighting each other over a piece of crap dude anyway. You know, it's just sad. It's just a sad commentary.
That's what most of the fights on social media be over. Relationships, it go both ways. You know, I don't never see nobody fighting to go find a job. I don't see you fighting to get in that line to go vote. But you fighting over some gristle? For real, some gristle? Man, please.
Well, I want to address, you know, the images we see on social media. Like you said, Gary, they don't, you know, if it's something, a post that may be enlightening or something that's more on the positive side in regards to Black people, sometimes people get those posts removed and things like that. But like you said, they have no problems keeping video of us fighting, you know, us being murdered, even by the police and things like that. And so that's all about imaging and narratives, because if you continue to show a people, and when I say people, let's talk about us as Black people, you continue to show us negative images of us being of savagery, then eventually we start to believe that, right? If those are all the images that you see before you, the fighting and the arguing and all of that. And so as Dr. Claude Anderson talks about, because we as Black people own less than 3% of the media, we don't get to control the narratives that go forth about us. And so this show here is a good antidote to that. We need more Black media that highlight positive things in our community and show the real side of us, if you will, because those things we see on the internet as far as people fighting, that's not really who we are. You ask me, I think those are isolated incidents, but it doesn't seem so isolated because we see more of those images than we do of positive images, right? So we need to get a hold of our images via the media. And then I want to address Virgil. He says, you know, let's basically talk about abusive wives. Well, I don't think anywhere so far that any of us has said that abusive wives or girlfriends or whatever get a pass, but I would like to address it. We know that is an issue. And I would admonish anybody, you know, to keep your hands to yourself. Stop putting your hands on people, because I'm a firm advocate. I don't care what sex you are. If you put your hands on somebody, then the other person has a right to put their hands on you back. You know, and you know, and just in all honesty, there are, you know, a lot of women who feel like they can whoop a dude. That's rarely the case unless you she-woman or something. I don't know. But most of the time as a woman, you're not going to whoop no man. You know, and every man has their breaking point. Even some men who aren't going to put their hands on you, they're at least going to get you off of them by any means necessary. So I would just say, you know, everybody should keep their hands to themselves, because I hit back.
Right. I have a question, and it goes back to Jerry's question a few days ago. Does it ever come a time where a man has to put his hands on a woman?
See, has to is the word that I struggle with. I don't know if has, HAS, is the right word. I mean, I guess in the sense of self-defense, I wouldn't recommend, you know, dotting her eyes, maybe, you know, especially if you're a bigger dude, you know, trying to subdue her to some degree. Now, if it comes to that, you need to get her up off you, then I say you need to do what you got to do. But you know, just because I think this should be allowed, you know.
I guess show up. What's going on, Vernon?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. I had to pop him in there. We
Man, I'm trying to get.
when we finish.
You know, I don't know nothing about no computers. You know, I'm bad when it comes to messing with computers.
It's okay. So, in case y'all don't have a clue who this gentleman is, I'm enlightened. See, back before that fake team came to town, there was a pro football team called the Houston Oilers. Love you, Blue. I'm all a fan until I die. I'll never be a Texan fan. I never got over the fact that the Oilers left. And this young man here, Vernon Perry, played for the Houston Oilers. And in a playoff game, 1975, against, I think it was the San Diego Chargers and Dan Fouts, I think Vernon picked off 4 passes in one game and went down in all of history as one of the greatest defensive backs to ever play. I think he had an opportunity to play for the great Bum Phillips. And if you're a true Oilers fan, then you're gonna love this interview. How you doing, Vernon?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing? I see I got some new faces on the cam. How y'all doing? Y'all being safe?
Absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, good. Where your Houston Oilers mask? I know y'all got some Houston Oilers masks to be wearing around there.
Oh yeah, I got all the jerseys, the whole 9 yards, doctor.
Oh, okay. Well, you all right with me?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna let Donovan start this off. You got it, Donovan.
All right. You know, welcome to the war zone. I appreciate you making it in. I know it's tough with the computers and everything, but you know, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, born and bred.
Boo,
But don't get me wrong.
boo.
Don't get me wrong.
That's about behind me saying boo.
Don't get me wrong. I love the Oilers. Earl Campbell. When you guys, I kind of cried for the Saints when you guys got the original Manning down there to try to, you know, turn the season around and stuff. But, you know, after your career ended, what, you know, did you kind of get into to replace, you know, that field that, you know, you had lived all your life? Because a lot of athletes, that's all they did was, you know, play football or sports. You know, that was their mantra. So upon retirement, what have you been up to?
Well, you know what? After I retired from football, you know, I also had my degree and I had my teacher's license. So I was able to go back and I taught school for 28 years. I also taught 8 years at Prairie View A&M. I was assistant football coach and I was the head golf coach and I taught PE. And after I left Prairie View, I went to Alabama and coached. Then I ended up coming back to my hometown, Jackson, Mississippi, and coaching in a high school. And I also coached at my alma mater, Wingfield High School, for 5 years. And now, guess what I do? I'm a professional, do nothing.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
All I do is play golf and fish.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
All right.
So,
and then I also, I have a foundation that I do, Save a Kid, Save a Life, here in Jackson, Mississippi, where myself and Robert Brazil, we give away 500 bikes every Christmas to needy kids. And we also give away 450 bikes right there in Houston, Texas, over at Perry Lee Homes over there off of South Main in Stafford or Stratford, right there. So every Christmas you can ride by and get you a bike. That Dallas Cowboy, you can get you a 3-wheeler bike. But I'm sorry, I ain't gonna pick on you, Dallas Cowboy.
So, welcome, Mr. Perry, to the war zone. And so, my name is Demetra. So, from what I understand, after, I guess, not being picked, and I'm not a sports person, so forgive me here, but not being picked up by the Chicago Bears, it sounds like you didn't play for all of 1976, and then you were drafted by the CFL, I guess, to play for Montreal.
Right.
And so, and then in 1979, you got picked up by the Oilers.
Right.
While you were playing for Montreal, did you think you would get drafted into the NFL?
Well, no, I didn't, because, I had tried with the NFL. I went to Chicago Bears, and a great friend of mine, Walter Payton, got me a tryout with the Chicago Bears. And I went to camp, did an excellent job, but you black guy coming in, and you had guys from Notre Dame, UCLA, all up in there. And who you think they were going to look at first? Those guys are poor little old Jackson State guys. So I got caught up in the numbers. So when I got cut, I went back to my hometown, Jackson, Mississippi, and coached at Jackson State for a year. Then, matter of fact, the Montreal Alouettes was having a tryout in Houston, Texas. And I decided to go there and try out, and I ended up getting picked up by the Alouettes and played 2 years in the CFL, was in the Grey Cup both years, won the first one, lost the second one to Warren Moon. And funny you ask, Robert Brazil, the reason that I signed with the Oilers, because he said that the Houston Oilers was missing one player that can help them get to the next level, and that was a defensive back that can cover wide receivers like Ozzie Newsome, Lynn Swans in that slot, and that was me. So me playing corner in the CFL, I was able to come back to the NFL and play that position. So Robert Brazil is the reason that I signed with the Houston Oilers, because I was going to sign with the Rams. I probably would have been a movie star right now. So you probably been watching me on TV as a hitman or somebody.
So talk about being, I guess, a rookie at the age of 26. What was that like?
The who?
Being a rookie. From what I read, it says that you were a rookie at the age of 26.
You know what? When I got to Houston, I wasn't really considered a rookie, because they never treated me like I was a rookie. I was like a veteran in camp. But dealing with guys like Curly Cup, Elvin Bethea, and the worst one was Karl Mark. And I know y'all have heard of Karl Mark, the center. Boy, he if he say something, he just make you start shaking. But I was there to play football, and I did a good job, and I had a good season that year in 1979. We went on, like say, in 79, we played against the Denver Broncos in the playoff, and I got an interception against the Dallas Cowboys. So Dallas Cowboy man, I'm gonna send you that tape. But I ended up, our first playoff game was against Denver Broncos. I had one interception against them. The next game, I had 4 interceptions and a blocked field goal against the San Diego Chargers. And then I'm like, oh man, we on our way to the Super Bowl. The very first pass Terry Bradshaw threw, guess what? I picked it off and went 75 yards for a touchdown. And you talking about, they said my 4 interceptions is a record. I think the 6 interceptions I had in 3 games was a record to me. So, I thought when I had that touchdown, we was going to the Super Bowl. But, they called that bad play against Mike Renfro's where they said he was out the end zone, but he
Oh
was
man,
in. So we end up losing.
I was just about to ask you about that. I watched that game. I was a kid, and Mike's feet were in. I'm 52 years old. I think I was 9 at the time, 10 years old. His feet were in then, and his feet are in at the age of 52. You got
Yeah.
cheated in Pittsburgh that year, and that just broke my heart.
Yeah. Well,
And I know when y'all came back,
oh,
you
what
you
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 talking
walked
about?
into y'all drove into the Astrodome. Drove into the Astrodome. They pulled the buses onto the field. What was that feeling like when y'all got back to the dome?
Oh man, you couldn't imagine, man. We when we lost that game and we got to the airport, man, we had cars lined up from Intercontinental Airport all the way to the Astrodome. People would have pulled on the side of the road, interstate now, honking their horn and had got out the car and was just clapping and stuff all the way to the Astrodome. Man, when we pulled up in that Astrodome, it was people everywhere, man. I mean, I don't think it was a standing room spot nowhere, but it was like Bomb got up and said, shoot, man, we knocked on the door. Then he said, the next year we're going to kick that son of a blank in. So we tried, man, but we had a good season. So, the next year we end up being traded to the New Orleans Saints.
Yep. I ain't been the same since.
No,
Well,
it
let me
hasn't,
ask you a
man. But
question.
y'all still Cowboys down there.
You
Not
got
cowboy teams. I'm talking about cowboys like boots and hats and stuff.
you got a lot of memories in the dome, and right now it just sits empty. What do you think the city of Houston should do with the Astrodome?
Oh man, I don't know, man. It's hard to say, man. It was some good years there, and I think it's hard to do anything with that dome because it's about to fall down, huh? So maybe they could just. At one time, people had said they was gonna put a casino in there. They was gonna play high school football in there, But if you got the money and you're able to renovate it, I think it should be renovated for high school games but in college games like that. But other than that, if it's not going to be used, tear it down, use the parking lot.
I agree. I agree. You got it, Demetri.
So I read a quote that you made, and I don't know when you made it, but you said, the game of football was fun to me. It didn't matter how much money we made, we just loved the game. Do you think players feel that way now?
No.
And so why not?
Man, when I played, when I was a little boy, man, I wanted to play professional football. So I would go out in the park, in the little corner and behind the house and play football, and it was fun. When I played high school, it was fun. College, it was fun. When I got to the pros, it was fun. But when I went to the New Orleans Saints and I was sitting on the bench and was not playing, and I know I was better than the guy that was playing in front of me, and just because that player was from Nebraska, I mean, and he had got drafted #1, they had to play him. And so I feel like the game wasn't fun anymore. And I retired. It was time to go because, it just wasn't fun anymore. Those guys up there was all about the money. And if you didn't pay them $50 million, they wasn't going to step out on the field, which I would have went out there for $1 just to knock them Dallas Cowboys down.
Donovan?
So let me ask you this: some of your top players today come out of the SEC, which is some of the schools that that are down there. I mean, even a small school like Jackson State or whatever comes out of there. How do you feel knowing that you are one of the pioneers that brought all of those schools in the SEC to prominence today?
You know what? And funny you asked because I was on the Ricky Jackson show last night. New Orleans Saints. And he talked about the black college ball players from black schools not getting the opportunity to go to the pros. If you look at the draft, how many black college players was drafted? One. And if you go back years back, you could see that guys like Vernon Perry, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Jackie Slater, Doug Williams, we all held a record in the NFL for years. And where were we from? SWAC, Black College Football. And for some reason, I think if they draft a player from the SWAC, he's going to outshine a Notre Dame or a UCLA player. I don't know. I don't know why they don't draft out the SWAC anymore. We had guys like Jimmy Smith, played for Jacksonville, Walter Payton, Robert Brazile, Leon Gray. I mean, yeah, on and on, man. I can call some names. I can sit here all day calling players' names that played for the SWAC, Southern Mississippi, Mel Blount, Doug Williams, Philliot, Texas Southern. A lot of guys came out, man. But now, one guy to get drafted from black college football? Come on now, tell me what's going on.
I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I feel. I mean, when you saying the Mel Blunts, you saying the Jackie Slaters, we're not talking about average football players. The Robert Brazile, we're talking about Hall of Famers.
Right.
And I really believe in my heart till this day, they already know what's gonna happen. And I'm gonna tell you something. When I was a senior in high school at Yates, I got the opportunity one time to watch Jerry Rice play when they played against Texas Southern University. And I'm going to tell you something. The quarterback, they call him Willie Satellite Totten. That's what they call him. And when the only time they would huddle up is when they got off the bus.
That's right.
They ran a no-huddle offense. Archie Cooley was the coach, but Jerry Rice was in a world of his own.
That's right.
So those that slept on him, that's your fault. If you believe that these black players can't play because they come from them small colleges, you crazy.
I know, you're right.
You are just flat out crazy. The guy that I blocked for in high school, he went to Texas A&I, same school Dal Green went to, Johnny Bailey. First year, he outrushes everybody in college football. That includes Emmitt Smith, who was at Florida. And they didn't give him the Division II Heisman. So all he did was get upset and go win the Division II Heisman for the next 3 years. But Mike Dicker wasn't no fool.
I know, you're right.
Mike Dicker drafted that boy, and he ended up being an all-pro. I just feel they will not give the kids a chance from black colleges because, like you said, they will outshine those Division I players.
That's true. That's true. You're right about that. And I don't know what's going on, man, but
I mean,
one day, right now, they talking about the NFL not hiring black coaches, and they got some kind of thing going on right now about the NFL not hiring black coaches. So we'll see. We'll see.
I'm gonna tell you this deal. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs right now,
right,
should be a head coach in the NFL. He should be a head coach in the NFL. And they play this phony game every year, and they never give those black coaches a shot.
No, you got Emmett Thomas, who's been coaching in the NFL for 40 years with the Kansas City Chiefs right now, coaching defensive backs. He hadn't got an opportunity to be a head coach. I don't know what's up with that. And he's been coaching 40 years in the NFL. Never been offered a head coaching job.
Wow.
Emmett Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like what happened in Dallas there. I mean, they have this Rooney Rule, and then they bring in this Mike McCarthy guy, and I'm thinking, well, who did you interview for the position?
Jerry Jones run that team. Jerry Jones did the interviewing. They already knew who they was going to hire. It was right. They knew who they was going to hire and when. And, post Dak Prescott, Man, it's sad. Now, if that would have been, you know what, he'd have got his money. But him being, you know what, he got to wait. And I don't understand.
I really
that.
think that
That
I
game's
really
been the
think that they're
same.
about to mess over Dak. I think they're about to mess over Dak. I
Yeah,
think they gonna let him play on the on the franchise tag. They're gonna let him play on it. That's the reason they brought Andy Dalton in there.
there you go.
They're gonna let him play on the franchise tag.
Writing on the
And
wall.
if he starts struggling, they're gonna pull him.
Sure,
And then
yeah.
that's gonna be their reason for not paying.
Right. They tried not to pay him last year. They was hoping that he had a bad year, so he wouldn't get that franchise tag. But he had a good year, so they ended up making him the franchise player. But man, you went to Yates High School.
I am an 85 state champion from Yates High School.
You know, I used to coach at Ryan Middle School.
Wow.
Went undefeated in basketball the year I was there. I had guys like Carl Owens.
You know,
Yeah,
people
we were
don't
bad.
understand about that thing at Yates because 98% of the kids came from Ryan and they came from Cullen.
Right.
And the year that I got to Yates, Ryan still had ninth grade, but Cullen didn't have it.
Right.
So when we finally hooked up in the 10th grade and all of us were on the campus at the same time, the coach told us in the 10th grade, you will win a state championship before you leave here. It's too much talent. It's
Yeah, I
too
won
much
the state
talent.
championship.
And we won a state championship.
I got to give it to Yates. They had some tough boys over there.
Oh,
Y'all with them, like they say down here in Mississippi, them cornbread fed brothers.
Well, you know,
So, yeah, but most of them players probably came out there. What's that little place right beside Yates? Is that CUNY? What they call them? Project?
The CUNY home.
That's right. Yeah, some athletes came out of there.
Oh yeah.
Some great athletes.
I mean, a lot of people don't know, especially when you think about the NFL. Yates High School has more Super Bowl champions than any school in the country.
Right.
Because when they get to talking, you know, well, who came from Yates? Well, we can start with Dexter. We just call him Dexter. Well, Dexter Manley, 2-time champion Washington Redskins.
Redskins. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, Yates just was a football factory, man. And the good thing is one of our guys, Harold Bailey, ended up playing for the Houston Oilers.
That's right.
Harold ended up playing for the Houston Oilers. You got it, Demetri.
So, since you guys brought up the issue of black coaches and the Rooney Rule, what is your take on Colin Kaepernick and what he was trying to do as far as kneeling to protest the brutality by the police and murder of black people by the police? What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like he was blackballed? Was he doing the right thing? Like, what are your overall thoughts of that?
My thought is that it could have been a better way to express that besides on the football field, you know, but he just took the time to take a kneel, and it went on. And I think the press just built it up and made it to what it was. But, you know, what he did was great. It was a good thing. But like I say, sometimes you got to do stuff in certain ways so that it'll get over to the public. And, you know, maybe football, I don't know. Y'all tell me, because I'm still fighting with that, you know. But now he's making, he's a millionaire now?
Well, I think he was already a millionaire, but obviously he's gotten a lot of endorsements and things like that after he was blackballed from football. But, you know, just my thoughts. I'm a Kaepernick fan. Wasn't a fan football-wise because just wasn't into football, but I became a fan due to his social justice work. I believe that it is important for somebody to highlight what's going on with Black people, especially in regards to the police. And when was that, 2016, when he took a knee? And here we are in 2020, and it's, still going on. If not, it's worse. So, I mean, and, as far as him being a millionaire, I think if he were to continue playing, he would be a millionaire. So I don't necessarily have a problem with him getting paid for what he is doing. It's also should be said that he donates a lot of the money that he makes from his sponsorships and things like that to charity and other social causes and things like that.
I think that I'm gonna tell you this here. Before Kaepernick in the NBA, there was a kid from Gulfport, Mississippi named Chris Jackson.
Yeah, they did him bad.
Ahmad Abdul Rauf. And they did him 10 times worse than they did Kaepernick.
That's what I say.
They did him 10 times worse than they did Kaepernick.
And they're not the only one. There's some kids around here that y'all don't hear about that's going through that. And so happened that he got the opportunity to express his because he was playing pro ball. But think about the guys that got did real bad playing football and you don't know about. That's what's so bad.
You think about if you go back into the 60s, you think about the two brothers that held their fists up on the podium at the Olympics.
Right.
The bottom line, we don't want to address certain social issues, but they don't mind us saying what we need to say. Is just in certain arenas, you shouldn't be able to do it.
Right.
And I don't believe that. I think that you stand up for what you believe in, and you got to understand there's consequences for your actions.
Right.
So, if I tell people, I just say, well, the whole team ain't going to take a knee. It's not going to happen. So if you got a problem with it, just stay in the locker room, bro. I ain't coming out the locker room until it's over.
Right. That could have happened.
But you gotta be smart because they will make you the next Kaepernick.
Right. Because I think that's something should have been talked over before he got out on the field with the other players, and they could have handled that in a different way. That it could have been a group thing instead of just him kneeling. And now he's paying for it, and it could have been a team thing where everybody throughout the league could have been doing it. You got to think that over before you do it, and then involve not just yourself, but you got to involve the whole team. And the owners can't fight the whole team. They can fight one, but they can't fight the whole team. So I think it should have been a group thing.
Well, my man Jerry Jones said, if one of you mugs even attempt to take a knee, you're off of this damn team.
Well, you're right about that. You're right.
I think he meant that. I think Jerry meant that for the guys that don't make a lot of money.
Right.
Because the ones that actually make a lot of money, he ain't gonna bother them.
No, man. They do. You got to look at now the GMs are guys that never played sports.
Yeah.
How many GMs you think is in the NFL that never put on a helmet or a pair of shoulder pads? And now he's running a team. Whole bunch of them. We talked about that last night, and man, Ricky Jackson went off. He went off on the Saints, talking about Mickey Lumen. He never played a down of football, but he down there controlling the New Orleans Saints. What do you do? Just like high school or junior high, you get a guy at the band room to go out on the football field and coach, and now he's the head coach, and he's never played. So you got to know what you're doing.
Well, Mr. Perry, let me ask you this important question, because we have some people on here that don't really know the history of the Houston Oilers and all the greats that came off those teams. What is your take on the new Houston team, the Texans?
Trash.
Oh, man, I used to do a lot of autograph signing for the Houston Texans. And I don't get me wrong. Bob McNair tried to do some things for the Houston Oilers players while he was alive. He invited us to a lot of events. He took a lot of guys that played for the Oilers and made them ambassadors for the Texans. So he did a good job, but I don't know what happened with that coach that they got down there. I heard that he called, what's the guy name in? Hopkins into the locker room, into his office, and told me, you remind me of Hernandez. What is that about? Hernandez was a what? A murderer. He was a drug head. He was you know what? Yeah, he was that. I didn't say that, man. But dude, are you trying to say that's what DeAndre Hopkins is? That's cold blooded there. But
I think as far as football, the city of Houston will be cursed forever because all my man wanted, Bud Adams,
was a
all he
stadium.
wanted was a new stadium.
That's it.
You end up building a new stadium. The Oilers never had to leave.
Right.
All he wanted was a new stadium
To host the Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's all he wanted. And the way that we were done, you got some diehard Texan fans. God bless them. I'll never watch. I've never been to a game.
Wow.
Because I am a true Oilers fan.
Oh man.
Oilers fan. I'm not fooling with them people. And the disrespect that man exhibited toward DeAndre Hopkins, who's never been a problem player, never had issues off the field, always donating a bunch of money, his time to everything. The disrespect that he exhibited, he'll get into after this year. You the pro. You the pro. How do you trade a top 3 wide receiver and get a 4th round pick?
A running back.
Trash running back.
Hey, I'm down here in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm trying to deal with Jackson State now, letting Alcorn and Southern beat them. So you know how I feel about them Texans. I think that was a bad move. But you know what, though? I'm still mad with the Texans for letting, what's that linebacker, that big linebacker, D'Amico Ryan?
Oh, they screwed up when they let him go.
Oh, man, when they got rid of him. Go to Philly. That hurted me when they got rid of him. D'Amico Ryan, that was bad. He was a good linebacker. They got rid of him. They got rid of Clowney. They got rid of Hopkins. They got rid of Andre Johnson. They get rid of all the good athletes and send them on.
Houston sports teams don't have any loyalty. So I'm going to ask you this question because it bugged me till this day. How did you feel when the Oilers got rid of Earl Campbell?
I was in New Orleans. At the time. So they got rid of Vernon Perry. They got rid of Earl Campbell behind me. They sent Kenneth Stable. Yeah, they sent Kenneth Stable over there, Karl Mark, Greg Stemrick, Willie Tullis, Eddie Biles in the Oilers. They just got rid of all of us. And we had a great season the year before. And next year, Baum left, and then Eddie Biles started cutting guys. I guess they didn't want Bum Phillips players. But Baum took us down there in New Orleans, though, so we came out on top.
But, I mean, to do Earl, and, I love Earl Campbell. I love his whole story. To see where he is now from the collisions that he took in the NFL. And just think of how they did him at the end of his career. It still bugs me.
Earl said that he went to practice and they weren't going to start him. And he was the best running back they had. And they said, Earl, you're not starting today. Earl said it was time to go. He said he have never been so hurt in his life. In all the years that he had played football, that hurted him. And he retired. Number 34 retired from the New Orleans Saints. So, yes, we did miss the Houston Oilers. I miss them, but the lady up in Tennessee, she's trying to do some stuff to bring a lot of us back to Nashville. Robert Brazile went into the Hall of Fame. She paid for everything. And she invited us to the Tennessee Titan game when they played the Kansas City Chiefs. So she would like to do some stuff. And matter of fact, she was, before the coronavirus came out, we were getting ready to have an Oiler reunion at Top Golf. So we was going to bring back a lot of the Oilers and just have a good time.
Demetra, final question.
So my final question is, we know that the NFL is comprised of about 70% Black players. And we've heard, people float the idea around, I think it was Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, however you want to refer to him. And a couple of other people were thinking about or trying to buy, I guess, into the NFL. And then they kind of floated the idea around creating a team, a Black team. What do you think about that? Do you think that ultimately, since it is said that a lot of Black players aren't being treated right in the NFL, that they should take their ball per se and go form their own league?
No, I don't think if you look at it, it's what it is. The owners own the team, and we're gladiators. We go out like in the long time ago when they used to go out in the arena and fight. That's what we do. That's the only time you can kill somebody and don't go to jail. We go out on the field. I'm not saying that go out there and kill somebody, but we go out on the field and we do it, like I say, I did it for the love of the game. The owners are doing it for the money. They don't care what you go out there and do, but as long as you go out on that field and perform and get them their paycheck. And when it's over, it's over. There's a lot of guys in the NFL right now hurting. Not just the concussion stuff, but I mean, they're not taking care of their players like baseball and basketball. Guys are dying, man, with no benefits, no insurance, and the owners making all that money every year and don't want to get the players a dime. So I hope I answer your question, but it's what it is.
Donovan, final question.
Yes. Last question, and thank you for coming on the show, Mr. Perry. Like I said, it's been a treat. But if I'm a young athlete and, you being the old gladiator you are, you made it to the pros. You made it. I mean, what advice would you give a young player in high school or junior high school coming up to be as successful to make the pros?
First thing I would tell you is to stay in school. Get your lesson. Listen to your parents. Because if you don't have an education, you might as well give it up. It's just like you working for a dope man and the dope man give you a letter and you can't read and he tells you to take this letter to the crack house and give it to the man, and the letter, you read the letter, but you don't know what it say. But he give it to the crack man, and the letter say, kill him. But you have read the letter. And because you don't know how to read, you got killed. So I tell a young kid, stay in school, get your education. If it wasn't been for me staying in school, I wouldn't have been able to go and teach for 29 years. I got my degree. I got my master's degree from Prairie View A&M. Yes, I am a Panther and a Tiger. So I just say, and listen to your parents, man. Listen to your parents, because, they got a lot they can tell you, man, your grandparents. So, but just get the education, man. I don't care how much drugs you slang out there, you still got to have an education, because if we don't have education, we ain't gonna make it. Because they ain't hiring us unless we from Harvard or UCLA or University of Houston with a big degree behind them. But I just say, tell a young kid, stay in school, get an education.
This is my final question. When you spoke of people not ever playing the game, how does the NFLPA sit back and allow Roger Goodell to make $45 million a year, more than I think every single player in the league? How does that happen?
Well, you got to understand, it's a buddy thing, I believe, because I found out that DeMarco Smith, he's he's over the younger guys, and he appointed Nolan Harrison over the NFLPA, so they buddies. So it's like, I'm gonna take care of my friends, I'm gonna take care of you, you take care of me, and it's so on, so on. So it's, man, Roger Goodell making all that money. Wow. I mean, he makes over $50 million a year.
Easily.
A year.
Easy.
And I called up there and tried to get money from them, because all them fines that them players are getting, I tried to get some of that money from my foundation, and they'll send you somewhere else. But you know who's getting that money, don't you? On that domestic violence, all that. And then the first thing they say, well, we want to give it to domestic violence. I said, okay, all right. But they tucking that money somewhere else, and they're giving it to who they want to give it to. So, ma'am, if you got a foundation that helps young ladies, go get the money. You're
from
pretty,
the NFL.
Yeah, from the NFL. You pretty enough to go up in there and say, Roger Goodell, give me that money.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out for us, Mr. Perry, and you brought back a lot of good memories for me, man. And it ain't gonna never stop with me. And people like, man, you gonna be a Texan fan sooner or later? Never.
Oh yeah, well, just be a swag supporter. Just support your black colleges.
It's no doubt, no doubt.
Just keep doing that, and find a way to help the NFL start drafting some of these black athletes that's not getting the opportunity to go to the pros. That's sad when they only draft one player out of black college. That's bad. And then all you sitting at home listening at the phone ring, and all it is Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Alabama. Those guys are cleaning up. But then again, that's where we got to make a stand. Not just the people that's on, but the players that's inside the NFL got to make a stand too. So it's just like Colin Kaepernick. We got to make that same stand too. Because there's a lot of black guys, man, just they go out on their field and they take a chance with their life and could be hit anytime and be paralyzed for life. And then the draft come out, you don't even give them an opportunity to go to the next level. So, but then that's probably pretty good, because he wouldn't be hurting like I'm hurting right now.
Y'all played in gladiator school.
Yeah, man.
Gladiator school back then.
I used to love to hit. I mean, it just, man, I like to see a guy, man, I hit him so hard. Man, I can tell you some of the stuff I used to do to Franco Harris and Lynn Swans and Tony Dorsett. I hit Tony Dorsett 10 yards out of bounds. I want you to know that, Cowboy fan. So
I'm gonna tell you something. Those DBs from that era, the Mel Blunts, the Donnie Shells, my man, the assassin.
Jack
Tatum.
I had the opportunity to play with Jack Tatum. Man, I mean, that was like my dream was to meet Jack Tatum, and I ended up playing with Jack Tatum. Man, did you see how he hit Earl Campbell on the 1 yard line? I mean, head on. Only the Earl go.
You had to bring your hat back then to work. You had to bring your hat back to the waters, man. Wasn't no playing back then, partner. Because when you lined up against them Steelers and you got to face Lambert, Ham, LC Greenwood. You know what I'm saying? What Mean Joe Green? I mean, you had to bring your lunch pail to work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Games back then, brother.
Yeah, you're right about that. Some good athletes, man.
So, brother, I appreciate you taking the time out. You're welcome back anytime you get ready.
Let the lady. Are you trying to say something, ma'am? Yes, you.
No,
Looking all pretty back there, talking about, I want to go put on some shoulder pads and hit somebody. No, man.
No, I was just going to say thank you so much for coming to the War Zone. We thoroughly enjoyed your presence. Please come back anytime.
Oh, just invite me. I'll be glad to.
And any other old players from wherever, if you ever want to invite them, tell them they all invited to come on.
Okay, well, have you had Brazil on yet?
I would love to have Brazil. They told me you sat down with Ricky last night. Man,
Yes.
I was a Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling fan.
Oh man, I got a chance to play with Ricky Jackson, but the good thing, I had got a chance to play with two of the best running backs in the NFL, Walter Payton and Earl Campbell.
My God,
that was the dream come true, man. Guys, watch Earl Campbell run over folks. Watch Walter Payton run over folks. Oh, man, I'm talking about, you just don't know, man. Just don't know. Look at that Cowboy fan over there laughing. Let's get him on.
You're welcome to invite Robert, whoever. Let them know about the program, man, and just tell them reach out to me. We will schedule them a day. And if I can get Robert Brazil on here, my uncle is a deacon and he almost 90 years old. That was his favorite player.
Well, ain't no problem getting Robert or anybody else you want. And you know what? We got a lot of I was the president of the NFLPA down here in Mississippi. And man, we got so many athletes down here in the Jackson, Mississippi area. You know, Jenna Ben, who played for the Buffalo Bills, he just passed away yesterday. You got Nolan Smith, we got Jeffrey Moore, Eddie Payton, Walter's youngest brother, Chris Burkett, Ray Guy, Brett Favre. You know, we got tons of guys in the Jackson, Mississippi area that would love to, come on your show.
Man, they all invited, brother. You set it up. Let me know what day you want them on. We're going to put them on here.
Okay, you got it.
All right. Thank you, my friend.
All right. And y'all take care of that young lady back there.
We're going to keep her straight, man.
What's straight now? Teach her some football now.
All right, brother.
All right. Y'all be blessed.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Man, you're talking about old school, real football, having type guy. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You had to bring your lunch pail to work back then, partner. It wasn't no games back then, man.
Yeah,
it's all watered down foolishness they got now.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. You know what I can see? I can still see Lester Hayes with all that stickum on his hands. All that stickum on his hands, man. Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes with the Raiders, man. Marcus Allen in the backfield, man.
Yep. My favorite all time Earl Campbell was when he was running and they ripped him out of his shirt. He just kept going.
Man, I tell you, man. I couldn't help but be a Bears fan. One of my schoolmates. He was actually our alumni president for a few years before Jeffrey Boney took over. Reginald Phillips played for the Chicago Bears when they won the Super Bowl. He was a defensive back. He's actually the one that I think Reggie's number was 46. He intercepted one in the end, and ran it back for a touchdown. But the crazy part when I look, I think Yates had about 8 players that made the Chicago Bears over a few years. 8 of our players from our team. And at one time, it was 3 of them on the team at one time. So, I love the old school NFL. I like the new school. Everybody's so crunk up on the passing game. Well, man, if you was real, you don't know about Al Coryell.
Cordell. That's it.
Cordell was chunking it for everybody.
Well, what? Dan Fouts in the 70s was averaging like 300, 400 yards a game. You know?
Yes. And they can say what they want. You did not want to be in Cowboy Stadium. All these people they come back at the last minute. Man, Roger the Dodger, with 2 minutes left on the clock, you got issues. I don't care who you was. You did not want the Cowboys with the ball with 2 minutes left in the game. And you finna have problems.
Now, did anybody notice how young he looked? I'm sure he's got injuries and stuff, but he looked so young. Did anybody notice that?
I think back then they didn't stretch it. You know, if people think about Jim Brown, Dimitri, he only played 9 years. And the rushing record stood forever. He got all those yards in 9 years. It took Emmitt Smith 14 years to get him. 14 years to get what one man did in 9. So it was harder back then. So they played shorter periods of time. So you wasn't finna play 20, 25 years back then. You'd have been under the graveyard if you'd have tried it.
I think, like he said, they had a love for the game. It was truly a love for the game. Now it's, endorsements and who's going to have the ESPN highlight for doing the most foolishness, answering the phone at the after the touchdown, the goal post, and all the nonsense.
These kids nowadays, they don't have to prove themselves. They come out of college and they give them hundreds of millions of dollars. That man probably has never seen $100 million and played in the NFL. You see what I'm saying? They have no respect for the game. That's my thing right there. They feel like they're entitled, and they just show up and they don't have a passion for it like they should. You see what I'm saying? So that's why when you see somebody like a Barry Sanders walk away in his prime, it's like, I can't be around these people, man. Megatron walk away in his prime. Just give it up in their prime. It's useless because you don't want to be around it, because it's not. Some people play for the love of the game. And I think Barry was one of those guys. He played for the love of the game. Look at some of them horrible teams that he was on and what he did. You see what I'm saying? So it had to be for the love of the game. So I agree with you, Dimitri. I totally agree with you. I just don't. I think they don't have any respect for the game. Mm-hmm. And football has provided a vehicle that has helped so many kids make it out of these rough situations. You had a good kid, DeAndre Thomas, from South Central Los Angeles. I met this kid at 11 years old at an all-star game in Miami, played on my team, and just phenomenal. And I was the offensive coordinator, so all I did was feed him the ball. He was that fast. Now, people don't even know who DeAndre Thomas is. Well, DeAndre Thomas graduated in LA. I forgot what high school. Went to the University of Oregon. 2-time All-American. And now he's in the NFL. But I remember him getting on that plane at 11 years old. And I remember the last thing I told him. If you keep your grades right, you will play on Sundays. I could see it in him. So, I mean, I just don't think they respect the game like they should, Dimitri and Donovan, because it's man, I want you to understand, Jimmy Johnson himself told me I was a 5'4" right offensive guard. I had all the talent in the world. I didn't have any height. The position that I played, you had to be 6'2", 6'3". But Jimmy Johnson, your Cowboy coach, 2 Super Bowls, told me if you were 6 feet tall, you could play anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the country. And that's why I stay on these kids till this day. You have a God-given talent. Don't sit here and waste it. Because if you have all the tools, then you can get paid on Sundays, man.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at guys like Adrian Peterson, the guy has a talent. He's a little older now, but look at all the money he's just wasted on strip clubs and just the foolishness. It's just so sad because guys like Mr. Perry, they didn't even see any type of contract like they're seeing today.
Man, I mean, you remember and Dimitri, I'm enlightening you on something. When Reggie White went to the USFL, and he came back to the NFL. I think his contract was the biggest in the history of the league. $15 million. You can't get some of these dudes to line up on Sundays for $15 million. They didn't make the money that they make. You see, but I also tell people that was a lot of money back then because the cost of living was different. So yeah, they were millionaires in their day. But the good thing that he said is go to school, finish school. Because your NFL career only has a longevity of 3.5 years. So if you are finished after 3.5 years, what are you going to do if you don't have a degree? What are you going to do? So you may as well finish school. I tell you what we need to do. We need to finish this conversation we started on tomorrow. If y'all cool with that, we'll recrank it up. I didn't want to not let him come in, even though he figured out what was going on. We always want to bring our guest on. And I want to really talk about that tomorrow. I want you to lead the discussion, Demetri, because it's something that we need to have a discussion on. There should be no enjoyment in the physical abuse of African Americans on social media. I don't believe that should be that way. Ms. Demetri, your final thoughts?
So we definitely will pick that conversation up tomorrow, and I'll have a little bit more background because we kind of just went off the fly. But luckily, Mr. Perry came in, and I'm so glad that he did. What an awesome guy! And I just love listening to people who have been there. You know what I mean? Been there and done that, and that can impart so much wisdom on the rest of us. And so please stay tuned tomorrow. And in the future, if you guys have anything you'd like to talk about, anything that's trending, because we don't always see things, something that's on your mind, anything, hit one of our inboxes and we'll be more than happy to discuss it. Because you guys, as I say,
bring them on here with us.
Yes. And as I say on my show, you guys are the other side of the conversation. And so, please let us know anything at all. If something you want to talk about, we'll be more than happy to discuss it.
Somebody sent me something the other day. I don't know if we want to have that conversation though. Why it look like we got to be drunk when we have sex? Somebody sent that to me to talk about it on the show.
Was they drunk?
Talking about the best sex is when you're drunk.
Were they drunk when they sent that?
May have been, or might have been having sex. But yeah, we can finish this up tomorrow. If you come up with something else, you guys are always welcome, like she says, to hit the inbox. Give us some ideas because we're inactive. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. That's what we want to do. We want to talk about what you want to talk about, but we want to include you in the show. So if you want to come on, man, come on, sit up in there with us. Let's talk about it. We can talk about anything. We can talk about anything because your opinion matters. Donovan.
Well, again, please tune in tomorrow because there does come a time when a man has to put his hands on a woman, and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow.
Oh, tune in. Goodness. You sure you ready to talk about that, man? We're going to talk about it then. I tell you this. So I'll leave you with this here. It's always an honor and a pleasure to talk to you guys. Always an honor and a pleasure to talk to you guys. You are part of this show. So send us some ideas. Send us some ideas and we'll talk about it, man. Don't matter what it's about. We'll talk about it. But we're getting close to these runoff elections. So, look for that war zone. We're going to put out our own. We're going to put out we're going to do California, y'all, if y'all cool with that. And we're going to do Houston, Texas. And we're going to endorse our candidates. I want to say that I endorsed today Eric Fagan for Fort Bend County Sheriff. Want to congratulate him on the endorsements because to get an endorsement from me, you got to be doing your work, man. You ain't getting no endorsement from me unless you didn't put the work in. Eric Fagan is a great candidate, a great example of what a law enforcement officer should be. So with that being said, I think tomorrow night y'all better get a seatbelt Because I'm going to, like my friend Donovan say, he going to bring it tomorrow night. And then I'm going to tell you why my hands is bisexual. I said it. Because some of you women think that you men's. I want to thank my co-host Donovan Sadiq, Miss Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. We'll talk to you tomorrow.